Not all screen time is created equal. In fact, the American Association of Pediatrics, the AAP, just recently released, I think it was November of 2016, they changed the recommendations in terms of screen time. It used to be just kind of blanketly, no more than 2 hours of any type of screen time throughout the day. It's actually changed quite a bit, and they broke it into quadrants. And they said not all screen time is the same. In fact, looking at the brain, when kids are doing different things with technology, their brain interacts different ways. And there's kind of these four ideas that you have the educational and you have the entertainment, and then you have the passive or you have the interactive type of screen time. So some of these, some old favorites, hey look, there's Oregon Trail again, right? Interactive education. These are some apps that we use in our school district quite a bit with the iPads. There's also passive education. Oh, Mr. Rogers, remember? We just had that documentary came out. And then there's also passive entertainment. Again, a wide range, by the way. You'll notice this with all these quadrants. Just because it's in the education one, doesn't mean that all educational interactive apps are good. There's still a range of what's good and what's bad. And then this last one, interactive entertainment. And again, just because it's in here doesn't mean it's terrible. Because Minecraft, we're doing Minecraft EDU clubs after school. Kids are creating worlds, working together, learning how to not destroy each other's things on Minecraft is a powerful thing. We actually have a class called Mindful Minecraft, where we teach kids to be mindful of what they're doing in their little space as they work with each other on a server. So there's different ranges of this. Now, some of these, of course, pretty bad. Grand Theft Auto. Anyone ever heard of this thing called Fortnite? In a minute, we're going to figure out what's good about Fortnite. There is some good things about Fortnite, but like everything, goods and bads, right? So again, the one thing I'll say is just because it's in a quadrant doesn't mean it's good or bad. You have to evaluate it still within there. That said, interactive educational screen time, totally different than entertainment passive. So the American Academy of Pediatrics suggests no more than 2 hours of entertainment-based passive screen time in a day for a student 6 or up. Less than that for kids 5 and under. Now, interactive educational, a little bit different. What are they doing? Are they creating? Their brain is enacting in different ways. Are they collaborating with somebody, right? Looking a little bit different there. One of the things, this is screen time back in the 50s, right? I love how the dad's just like, whatever, and the kids are like watching like a nuclear holocaust. I don't know what's going on here. Don't get too close to that screen. So, screen time's definitely been around for a while. In fact, even the content, we used to say, oh, it's so bad, it's so violent these days, right? The cartoons are so violent. Do you remember this cartoon? Here. Of course, it's a cartoon, and it's a little over the top, but again, I realized quickly when I was looking through, I came across this website quite a bit when I was starting out on this Common Sense Media. Are you guys familiar with it? Have you seen it? This is great for anything. A parent, teacher, they have educational apps in here. They have movies in here. I discovered that PG in the 80s is different than PG now because I wanted to show my kids Goonies. It's kind of scary. There's some scary stuff in there. So I went on Common Sense and looked like, 9+ is what we recommend. It's like, whoops, I showed it to my 8-year-old, right? So again, it's a guideline, like anything else. You as a parent can decide because every kid is different, but it's helped me a lot when I've looked at like some movies. I want to show them Harry Potter, and we've been reading all the books, which is great. And I try to show the movie when it's done, but after you get to like book 4 in Harry Potter, it gets kind of dark. There's like death. And so you have to be willing to have those conversations too, and I think that's the important thing. Even on those screen time things, even if they're playing a game that you see is like, this is Fortnite, I don't understand it, it's so powerful for you to sit next to them for just a minute while they're doing that. And just say, what is it you're doing? Explain it to me, and kind of have that moment to bond and connect with them. I think that's an important part too that's missing somewhat. When you just say, here's the screen, I gotta go to the doctor's office, just sit over there in the corner for an hour quiet. I've done it too, but then it's also like, what did you do? What did you build? What did you create? In that sense. Fortnite. So the negatives, it's got some addictive qualities. There is some cyberbullying. There is no filter on Fortnite. You could say and do whatever you want. What would be some positives about Fortnite? I'm going to challenge you. Give me something that's positive. Those of you that have seen it play. What's that? Cooperative play, collaboration, problem solving. Some of those skills we talked about. I watched my 14-year-old nephew, who's on this quite a bit. His parents have gotten really good about setting pretty good guidelines in terms of how many hours or minutes he's on it, and he follows that pretty well now. But don't get me wrong, it took months to get him there because he goes, no, I don't want to turn it off. I got to play one more. But I've watched him play and listened to him cooperate with people. It's pretty neat to hear him like, okay, now you go over there and just strategize kind of how it all works. So there is some positives to it. That said, there is also quite a bit of negatives when it comes to that addiction and that cyberbullying, the things that can happen within the app itself. This, by the way, is not just Fortnite. There's lots of things that can do that, right? So a couple of tools, and I'll get into this with the parenting tools, but for those of you that have iOS, this came out, I think in October, iOS 12, the screen time. I just started doing this. So all my kids, all three of my girls got iPads from Santa. And one of the things that, the first thing I did is I set up all their accounts and put screen time on it. So right now on my phone, if I look, my kids at 6 o'clock at home, they're probably not asking for it yet, but like at 7, it's gonna turn off all their iPads. And if they want more time, they have to do a request, and then I get the request and can say yes or no. And I can turn off specific apps. So I can say, you know what, I don't want you to have access to this app for more than 20 minutes a day or more than 2 hours a week. And so it's given me some ability to off-put some of that like fight with them. And what's funny is like it only took about 2 tries of them to push me on it, and I'm like, psh, it's all off. And after that, now I'm like, you better turn that off. Like, yes, Dad, it's off now. No arguments. And it's only taken a couple weeks to do it. So this is built in, by the way, for free. This is not like you have to pay for this. But again, I don't know if Android has a version. I'm sure there's some version you could pay for with Android, but I found it to be pretty powerful. So you can set those limits. They get a time limit, and then if they want to download an app too, they send it to me and I can say yes or no. And I just push it on my phone. So they're in another room. I'm like, wait, let me look at it. All right, that looks okay. They try to get a couple that were not okay, like 12 plus, things like that, apps that I didn't want them having. So I said, no, come talk to me. The other part of this that's important is that time of day and sleep. How many of you can wake up without an alarm clock? Just get up naturally. Oh, I'm so jealous. What's your secret? Just go to bed early? It's kind of like you have the circadian rhythm inside you. You know when it's time to wake up. You know when it's time to go to bed. Look at this data. This is actually from a TED Talk from Dr. Russell Forster about the amount of sleep we're getting. And it's very common nowadays for adults to get 5 hours or less. I'm kind of hovered between 5 and 6 myself for a long time. And it's not good for you over long-term health, right? And there's an effect that happens. So what he talks about in his talk is there's a circadian rhythm that happens when you look at bright lights or bright screens, blue screens particularly, your brain is waking up. It still thinks it's daylight, and it takes it about 30 minutes to wind down. So you've started to see that there is some changes that are being made to devices. I love this. There's one that's for Android, Mac, and PC too called f.lux, and it puts on a shade essentially of amber, which is still not perfect, but it's a lot better than that bright blue light that you see. And so working with kids in our district, there's a lot of digital homework. And so the parents in my community say like, wait, they have all this homework and it's all digital. Now you're telling me not to use that. I said, no. I'm telling you that 30 minutes before they go to bed, they need to go to sleep. So if you're working with your kid, think about, okay, how much homework do you have? We have dinner. We're not going to be on our devices then. Let's time it out. You need to be done by 8:30. Then you need to get some of that homework done early or in the next day in the morning. And a lot of kids have started to figure that out. Because I said the worst thing you do is say, oh, put it off until about 10 o'clock. Like, oh, now I got to do my homework. They need to be able to figure that out too. By the way, mom and dad, you shouldn't be the ones harassing them about that. Eventually, they need to learn how to do that, right? Because when they go off to college, they're out, and they've got to be able to figure out how to do that as well. So kind of balancing that screen time. And then I'll say this too, one little disclaimer, because I get a lot of these emails from parents in the community. They'll see some research out there that's from the New York Times or somewhere that says, screen time's evil and it does all these things. And I just say, be careful whenever you look at something. Don't repost it. I saw this one. This one came up recently. This was in October. It was this, first of all, the headline, and then look at the bottom, I'm convinced the devil lives in our phones. This is an article. Now think about a newspaper. What is it meant to do? It's trying to elicit clicks and responses. And if you read it, it's about, and I've seen this from a lot of parents, like Silicon Valley parents aren't putting their kids in tech schools. Well, it's about 3 parents in 3 different companies. It's not all the parents in Silicon Valley. And it's about them that have decided because of one of their kids that they don't want them in a particular school with a lot of technology because of the way they interact. I can tell you right now, my 3 kids, one of them struggles with technology, and I would probably keep her kind of calmed down from that. And I'll talk about her in a minute. But the one thing I'll say is when you see these articles, just kind of my disclaimer is this. Always be aware of misleading or extreme titles, that lack of research, and then anecdotes that support a narrative. So I clicked on the article and I started reading through it. And it says more and more research says, but then there's no link. And then when there is a link, sometimes it goes to another post or a blog. So I always say, make sure you're looking at the research, because I'm guilty of this too sometimes. I'll see something like, oh, this is cool, let me repost it on Facebook, right? Well, now all of a sudden, well, he posted it, so it must be something real because a friend of mine posted it, so have you seen this article? Always take time to do that. I talk about kids, we talk about fake news and identifying what's real and what's not with kids all the time. Same thing with adults, I say. Just be careful when you see those research articles because they usually have somewhat of an angle, right? To kind of promote a story or to get you to click on it. So that's kind of my little disclaimer about that. This came up really big in October in our district, and there was all the chatter in the community, and they all started sharing it. So we stopped and said, all right, let's actually analyze what this looks like. And so we had a task force similar to the one you guys have together. Yours is the Technology Advisory Committee, is that correct? Yeah, ours is the Digital Learning Task Force, very similar, students, parents, teachers. And we started going around and surveying and looking and researching and doing focus groups, sitting in meetings like you guys are doing right now, learning about this and seeing like what is the impact and how does this affect our kids, and then how much usage is actually happening during the school day with the devices. And I went around in October, this is October right before Halloween, and we went around all of our schools and we started pulling screen time statistics from the devices. Now I wish there was a magical way for me to do this, like hit a button and see it. Like with my kid's device, I can't. Right now, you have to manually go and look at every device. So I had a team kind of go around and take a snapshot. But we were pleased to see what the data turned out. And that is that even in kindergarten, we're talking about 30 minutes of time the screen is on. And I'll preface that by saying the screen is on. That doesn't mean they're glued to the screen, because sometimes I'll walk into classrooms and the screen will be on, but they'll be having a conversation with each other. But technically, it's still screen on. And then you can see when the devices start going home, right? Middle school, boom. High school, boom. Almost 3 hours. And that makes sense because a lot more of their work is digital, and they're taking it home over the weekends versus these kids here that just leave it at school. And so we also started walking around saying, what does that look like? And we started taking pictures of what it looked like, because our other concern was, we heard this in the community a lot too, 7 hours, they're on the devices all day, they're not doing anything with paper. And so this is what we captured when we walked around. There is some of this where kids are doing their artwork and capturing it. This student right here on the right, she's actually, this is actually reading to her. She has an accommodation for math. And so a first grader, getting it read to her. If you're in a classroom and you're teaching, and there's no way you can accommodate for 22 different kids with different strategies if you don't have some sort of tool to assist with that. So it's helped with the differentiation in our schools quite a bit. This student, who I can't show you the picture of the kid, but he's a nonverbal student. And it's allowed him to some level of communication and inclusion in the classroom. Special education, it's helped us big time when it comes to the integration of tech in terms of getting those kids to be on a level playing field with kids in the classroom. I think that's powerful too. And then kind of things like this, capturing what they're doing over there. Those kids over there are interacting and working on a project. Look what the teacher's done. They set up a little camera here, a little camera stand with their iPad, and they're just recording it. Simple thing, right? And then later, while she's working with a small group, she'll go back and watch and see what they did and how they interacted. Almost like cloning herself somewhat. And then there's one of those little Sphero bots I talked about before right here. These kids are working on programming that. Again, this is all elementary. Trust me, he did not break his arm because of the robot. I don't know why it's broken. Technology doesn't hurt you that bad. So it's interesting to think about the ways that it interacts. And I say, as people in the committee, as you're going out to your schools in Richardson, be looking at that and seeing, like, is it thoughtful? Is it purposeful? How are they using it? How's the balance of interaction with tech? Is it a tool, or is it just, are they on it 24/7? And I met with your teachers this summer, and I can tell you guys are on the same path we are. It's thoughtful and purposeful use. You just want to make sure it's consistent, right? That's the big thing. So it's been, a little while. So our next stand and talk moment. Here we go, last one. And I'm going to challenge you on this one. What are some ways that technology helps you in your daily life? This doesn't have to be just in school. In general, stand, find someone else. Ready, go. You're going to stand up because you've been sitting for a while, and some of you are getting bleary-eyed there. That 6:30 window is hitting. Stand and find somebody. And then think about ways technology helps you in your daily life. We'll do this for 1 minute. Oh yeah. Static and you're moving a lot, so I do walk around a lot. Sorry about that. No, you're good. Just want to make sure. Good stuff. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Can you hear me now? Good. How does it help you? Is that your phone? You have your own phone? How do you use it?
I use it for my homework.
Oh, you do? What kind of homework are you doing on it?
I use it for my math homework.
Oh, nice. Do you use is it a math game or an app that you use, is it IXL or Prodigy or some sort of game you play in it? Prodigy? Yeah, my daughter uses that too. What grade are you in? So is my daughter, 4th grade. She uses Prodigy a lot. That's nice that you have a phone. My daughter wants a phone really bad. I keep telling her, wait. maybe by the time she's in 5th or 6th grade, we'll see. But that's cool to use it for that. That's good. Do you ever text or do anything like that with it? See, my kids just figured out how to do that. So now it's all the favorite emojis. Like, what's your favorite emoji? You don't have a favorite emoji? They just like emoji, and it's, with my 5-year-old, it's the poop emoji. So she's always posting that to me, like, why are you sending me that, right? Yeah. Anyway, cool. All right. Some good conversations out there. Head on back. We'll wrap this up. Always good when you can talk to a 4th grader about what we were talking about, her phone and how she uses it. It's interesting to hear. My 4th grade daughter has been politicking heavily for a phone recently, so I was asking a 4th grader over here, how do you use it? And she says, was it Prodigy you use sometimes? Yeah, using it for math apps, practice. So she uses her phone for more than just, but she also texts with it too, right? She wouldn't commit to a favorite emoji, though. That was the one thing I was hoping to get her to say, what's your favorite emoji? So give me a couple of these. How does technology help you in your daily life? Someone raise your hand, shout something out. Translating. Oh, have you seen the Google Buds that are, now they're not perfect yet, the Pixel Buds, but there's a way that you can actually, they say 40 languages now. You put them in your ears, you go somewhere, someone talks, and it's translating in your ear. Very glitchy, by the way. So somewhere someone's going to be offended, probably. What did you say to me? No. But that's already out. So you can imagine 5-10 years, that translation. What is it? Uhura from Star Trek, the universal translator, right? What else? GPS, big one. I was driving here from Austin just a few hours ago. I pull up Waze, and I-35, as you guys know, is so fun. And sure enough, Waze is telling you to get off. I was like, why do I want to get off the freeway? So I follow it and trust it, and guess what? Back up traffic for hours, right? And I just went right around it. Yeah, GPS, that kind of tracking, that's helpful. What else? Scheduling, right, alerts, calendar reminders, things like that. I put the little reminder on mine that's a location reminder. Have you ever done that one? So like my wife's like, oh, go pick up something at Walgreens. So I hit reminders, hit the location Walgreens and put a little radius around it. And when my truck drives by, my phone goes, hey, don't forget, because I always forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to pull over and check that. That's pretty cool. It's a little thing. It's built into the reminder app. What else? Anything else? Yeah, commerce, paying your bills. Thinking about how much that has changed. I don't remember the last time I wrote, well, I know when I wrote a check, we just had Girl Scout cookies. So Girl Scouts, by the way, they don't do Venmo. I found out the hard way. So I did write a check for my daughter's Girl Scout cookies, but it's amazing to see how much it's changed. And in our schools, we talk about, there, again, like everything, pros and cons, right? We want to make sure there's that balance. So there's some things that it does for you, things you're talking about, those connection with others, being productive, catching up, capturing things, commerce. There's some level of security here. I have a Ring camera at my house. I can see what's happening, right? If something's going amiss, I have that captured on there. But there's also things that it could do to you, and this is the things we talk about with our students especially, that idea of making sure you're not always on, making sure there are times to turn off the phone, and having like a no tech night. In fact, we're gonna experiment with this as a district, and we have no homework nights about once every 6 weeks. You guys do that here or no? It's awesome. The kids love it, of course. No homework night, of course, until the teachers say, okay, so tomorrow you're gonna have double homework. No, that doesn't work that way. So we try to have a no homework night about once every 6 weeks, and we're gonna coincide one that's coming up pretty soon. We're gonna have also as a no tech day, and just say no tech that entire day, even in the classroom, which will be really interesting to see. Because like the other day we lost AirPlay, and his teacher goes, I can't teach today, Carl, I gotta go home. No projector. I'm like, wait, you can still teach. So we've really talked about this with our students in terms of, they bring phones in all the time. We're not gonna start telling them, no, don't bring your phone in, but we wanna teach them how to kind of work around their phone. There's a great series called Bored and Brilliant. It's actually a book also, but it's a 6-day cell phone challenge. We just ended it today in our high school. And it's all about just like today was, I think, turn off Do Not Disturb and don't check your phone until the end of the day. And then at the end of every day, they have to reflect on what did it feel like to not get connection, not get those notifications. And it's a neat little series to try to do with your kids. And we did it with all 2,700 of our high school kids. And some of them are really struggling. Like within 10 minutes, they're like, wait, someone might be trying to get in touch with me, right? So really kind of teaching them that kind of balance in life. So that comes to this last part, and that's the parenting piece. And I think as parents, we have to be really careful about this kind of dichotomy of, do we want to surveil everything and spy on them, or do we want to support them? And to be honest,